Yo, what up? This is D Knight, and you're listening to the Pardon The Insurrection podcast. My oh my, we've had so much going on. For starters, in case you missed it, we've got a new addition to the Pardon Pie family, Tara Dublin. Make sure you go follow her on Twitter at Tara Dublin Rocks. Also, pick up a copy of her book while you're at it. Make her day, The Sound of Settling. A very fun and interesting read compared to the things we talk about on this podcast. But yeah, we're heading toward the do or die time for the 2024 election. Go ahead and hit up JoeBiden.com. Get that man like $1 a month or something. Help his campaign staff up and get prepared to try and save our democracy. And make sure to grab like one other person you know and tell them about the podcast. Make sure they subscribe and tune in every single week. We got a lot of things coming up for you this year. We need all the support that we can get. So if you do your part and help us grow our audience, we'll do our part and help elect Joe Biden in 2024 and save American democracy. And this is the Pardon the Insurrection podcast.
I bought Dogecoin because of him.
Did you?
I did.
Wait,
but
did you buy it before or after it tanked?
No, I bought it years ago, like in 2016.
Oh, you
and
got
if
in early.
I had bought more because you know what? I had sold it after a while. I had sold some, and then I had like, I don't know, 1,100 shares at like 0.00000013 cent.
Yeah, so when it was traded like 4 cents a share, he was like, yeah, I'm a billionaire.
And then it went up to 71. And then I looked and I was like, oh shit, this is what I sold this. Fuck. I only had like a little bit, and then it went back down.
I'm sorry. Yeah, well, that's the thing with the pump and dump schemes. You know, Elon's probably also partially responsible for that. I heard he'll eventually end up in court deposed over that shit. Yeah, great. Hey, has anybody been watching the trial here of the Oath Keepers? No one cares.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. It's overload for me. So I haven't been able to like stomach it.
I think me and Carol were kind of talking about that before you got here. We're like, oh yeah, man. You know, if you told us 5 years ago all this shit would have happened, we're like, oh, this is crazy. And now it's so much, it's like nothing registers anymore.
Yeah, I was like, nothing happened last week. We needed a thing. He's like, no, I have 5 pages of notes. I'm like, what? 25. Like, it's just my baseline now.
25 pages.
Exactly. And so Vinny handled that, which he wrote a good article on that. But I don't know. I'm doing so much and then keeping up. That would be something I would need to invest in for a whole day while everything else is going on. So I would get nothing done but like one a day, you know?
Yeah.
And I just literally, my head can't take it.
All right. Well, I got a bunch of shit in here. I mean, nothing is necessarily that revelatory, but
yeah,
it is the information they presented in the opening arguments yesterday, or in the first witness. And yeah, man, this is crazy shit. I mean, obviously, look, our podcast is called Pardon the Insurrection. I figured
that's true. None of us watch the insurrectionist trial.
We should, I don't know, maybe pay some attention to the motherfuckers on trial for the insurrection. I mean, kind of only makes sense. And, no,
well, not. But
yeah, well, look, that's going in the podcast just because that's fucking hilarious.
But you know, the thing is like when I was just kind of going, when it first started, I know they were just doing the jury selection, and I was telling myself, okay, I'm gonna remind myself when they picked the jury, when opening arguments and stuff start, or I'll go and I'll watch it later.
Right.
But I none of it is anything that I didn't already know for myself, because I have written stories about and then had been keeping up with what was going on when they were delaying it, you know, and I was pretty, you know, familiarized with what
we have overly consumed the information. Like this isn't
exactly. So telling me that they had plans to overthrow the government and wanted Trump to like invoke the Insurrection Act, like no shit.
Yeah, duh. I mean, there's one new part in there, but we'll just get to it when we get to it.
Well, what is it? What is the new part? Share. Don't be stingy.
I mean, it's in the notes. It's in here.
Here, I put the notes in the chat, Ty. There's a link to the Google document, so it's easier to follow.
It's a lot. I'm sorry. There was more, but like I imagine we won't even get that far.
Yeah, why'd you do so much preparation so that our show doesn't suck, Derek?
Well, the thing is, I'm perfectly comfortable just like having a list of the topics and then we just kind of free flow. But like, I know Carol likes structure, so I do this to please Carol. Shut the fuck up.
Are you glaring at Derek?
It doesn't make the show worse. It just makes it different, right? Anyway, but the problem is what really happened is like 3-4 weeks ago, it just started being so much every week that it would be kind of difficult to just like go through all the nuance and detail of shit off the cuff. It's so much every week.
Yeah. I like it. I liked our shooting stuff out and just me and Ty interrupting you.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I want, right? Like again, we've overconsumed the information. The information is not for us. As a matter of fact, the information exists purely for you two to get your jokes off. So just go ahead and shoot your shot.
All right, let's go.
Hey, this is D Knight.
This is Carol.
This is Ty.
And you're listening to the Pardon the Insurrection podcast. I know you missed us. It's been quite a hectic week. And you wanted to get your news dump right here with your favorite 3 shenanigan enjoying goofballs who
shenaniganizers. Chance of meatballs.
Absolutely.
Influencers.
Shenanfluencers.
I'm a shenan influence. I'm a shenan influence.
Man.
Wait, I don't know. I can't.
Well, I bet you didn't tell that when they called, right?
Oh no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, this is Kai.
Oh, I was thinking about my other friend from the internet.
Stop. We'll start again.
All right. 3, 2. Hey, this is D Knight.
This is Carol.
This is Ty.
And you're listening to the Pardon the Insurrection podcast, where we'll just pretend like whatever just happened did not actually happen. And on to the news for the week. Let's start off with the most important part. Given that we are a podcast called Pardon the Insurrection, maybe, I don't know, we should cover the trial of the insurrectionists. Seems only reasonable, only logical. Yeah. The Oath Keeper seditious conspiracy trial kicked off yesterday. 5 alleged members of the far-right militia, including So what had happened here is, I'm going to say this guy's name for those of you out there who don't know. Is this guy, Stuart Rhodes, a former congressional staffer. It's a fantastic guy. You may or may not have heard from him. He wears an eye patch. And if you're wondering why, it's because he had an accident with a firearm where he somehow managed to shoot himself in the fucking face, because these people are geniuses. Keep that in mind. All right. 5 alleged members of the far-right militia, including its leader, Stuart Rhodes, are on trial in Washington, D.C.'s federal courthouse. They have pleaded not guilty to the charge of seditious conspiracy, a charge rarely brought by the Justice Department, among other charges. The Justice Department's opening statement featured messages and other communications among the defendants that prosecutors say show the Oath Keepers' unlawful plotting to disrupt Congress's certification of President Joe Biden's electoral win. As the prosecutors sought to use the words of the defendants against them, they also played video capturing the Oath Keepers' actions in the Capitol and displayed maps and charts to help the jury along. Hey, Ty, where'd you go? Are you possibly back there cooking chicken, perhaps?
For my chicken.
Oh man, look. Frying chicken in the middle of the insurrectionist trial. How dare you? How dare you not take this seriously? No, I'm kidding. So the DOJ also says defendants concocted a plan for an armed rebellion. The Justice Department began its opening statement with the accusation that defendants sought to stop by any means necessary the lawful transfer of presidential power, including taking up arms against the United States government. For those of you out there who aren't aware, that's a fucking crime. Don't try this at home, kids. If Congress cannot meet, it cannot declare the winner of the election. When video showing one of the defendants, Kelly Meggs, was presented, Nestler, the assistant attorney overseeing the prosecution, noted the patch he wore, which said, according to Nestor, "I don't believe anything. I'm just here for the violence." Well, that's fine. I'm just here to watch your ass go to prison for the rest of your life.
Yeah, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, seems nice. It's probably fun at weddings. As the video clips...
I'm just here for the course.
Tom Brady. As the video clips played... I'm sorry, Giselle. As the video clips played, the jury also saw a map of the cap. Hey, man, Tom Brady trying to dump his wife in the middle of the season. That's some whack shit. As the video clips played, the jury also saw a map of the Capitol that Nestler used to situate the action that was recorded by video. Nestler also had a physical chart perched on an easel in the courtroom listing out the alleged co-conspirators. The prosecution preempts the defense. Nestor also alluded to the belief that Trump was going to invoke the Insurrection Act, and the defense has signaled its plans to argue that the Oath Keepers were preparing to respond to such an invocation. Yeah, look, I mean, this thing, the Insurrection Act, hey, it's like this. The president gets to declare, hey, there's attack on the U.S. government. I get to deputize these militias and the army, whatever, to come to defense. Like, yeah, this absolutely was not going to happen. I don't care what the fuck they say.
I don't understand if he had, outside of their Rambo fantasies, then what? Like, what the fuck were they going to do? Like, just walk around insurrectioning? I don't understand. I'm like, what did they really think about, like, America, the country, like how it runs, just everyday shit? I don't know. I feel like they just were playing some reindeer insurrectionist game without really thinking about, well, what comes next?
Well, I'm presuming that the plan was to be like, hey, we're Trump's army now. We're going to hold Congress hostage and prevent them from certifying Biden's election win. Therefore, somehow magically keeping Trump in power. Good luck. I don't know. Like, I mean, according to numerous stories, there are multiple plots. One was to have Trump hold a new election under gunpoint, courtesy of a plot by Mike Flynn, like another the fake elector scheme. Have Congress certified.
Who were they going to put under gunpoint? Like every voter in the country?
Yeah.
See, that's my point, yes. Carol. I'm like, and then what? And then he's still president, but what is he going to be president of? Because did they not think like every other country would probably disavow us and post sanctions except Russia? But
okay, remember the part where I was like, hey, keep in mind the guy they put in charge of the Oath Keepers, on the ground, the general, the ground general, shot himself in the fucking face. These people are stupid.
He also doesn't bathe. So I don't understand how, like,
okay,
these people obviously can't function in reality.
No. Well, look, with 100% certainty, if they didn't try this, Trump would no longer be president. And they're like, hey, this is, even if it's a 50-50 shot that it somehow works out in our favor, that's better than nothing, right? Like, even if the eventual conclusion of this, of somehow being successful, led to civil war, they don't give a fuck about that. They just want to keep Trump in power. That was the whole goal.
How far up the hierarchy do you think the transition from delusion to just bad faith, lying, when does people stop believing the lies? Like, how low down the pyramid do they have to be to be true believers here versus like the people at the top? When I thought this question out and I was like, I'm going to interrupt Ty to ask it, I was like, that's so fucking profound. Okay,
I get what you're
like. Some of these
I get what you're
believe,
saying,
and some of them are leading them astray. Like, how far up the chain do you have to go, and like, to find the true? Where do the true believers drop off?
Where are the wolves versus where are the sheep? Right. We're assuming that Trump knows all of this full of shit. This shit is full of shit. He's at the top of the pyramid. He's the wolf, right? Like, how far down do you have to go to get to the sheep? Well, I'm assuming whatever the next level down is from Trump.
I'm gonna say, Roger Stone doesn't believe in anything.
Well, that's fair.
That's Stewart. I'm not really sure, because when he started the Oath Keepers, it was a whole different ideology that he had, and just got swept up in this whatever. I'm gonna say maybe third level down, and then down from there, because I had talked to
Trump is at the top, immediate co-conspirators next, Stone and such, then the Oath Keepers, and then below that
an attorney for, I'm not gonna say his name, but he was an Oath Keeper that was very remorseful when he was taking his plea. But it was, and from what his attorney told me, like he was like, he wouldn't have been there. Like he was not hoodwinked, but it was easy to kind of convince. It was more like a feeling like you're part of something thing, which I think a lot of.
He got swept up in the stupidity.
Yeah, a lot of these people believe. And just like, remember during the January 6th hearings, when Tate Hove was testifying, the insurrectionist, and he was like,
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, like there are so many more like him, I think, than I think the young white male populace that was involved in this, a lot of those like that guy, where everybody's suffering from this like belonging to something. And that's because this whole country is.
Yeah, well, it's the same way religions work, the same way cults work, the same way gangs work. People look for their identity as part of these, exclusive groups, or sometimes inclusive, depending on the way you look at it.
You know what I was thinking about, and I was making I go, MLMs are cults. I have a friend who I met, and she was involved, and they're always excited, and that's like her thing. She just keeps going, and then she's so excited. And, when I look at multi-level marketing companies and pyramid schemes, and they give people that same thing, and you get together with like-minded people and you hoorah each other, and you're.
Well, yeah. And there's like some aspect of selling you hope and like, hey, look, this is what your life could be like if you stick with us long enough. I mean, it's the, everything.
It's everybody. And it's been going on a long time. Right. Think about how many cars you would see, and it's like they've got a Pampered Chef sticker, they got a Mary Kay sticker, they got a beauty control sticker. They have so many MLMs in this country. I did an article when I was freelancing on the top 50 MLMs, and I go, there's more than fucking 50. Like top 50.
It's a profitable business selling people hopes and dreams.
Like I watched the Lululemon damn documentary, and that was wild.
LuLaRoe.
Oh yeah, that's it. No, that's it. Lululemon is the
LuLaRoe.
Yeah, you were so close.
Are those really?
I was like, damn, you were watching the fucking thing about the tights.
They don't have molds, because I heard they have a mold problem.
Carol is showing off her Lululemon tights as we speak.
LuLaRoe. Lululemon tights. That was a different scandal where the pants kept ripping, and they were blaming their customers for being too fat.
Well, look, some
or they were like see-through, and they're like, well,
shapely figures.
Well, wide load. They're like that basic.
It's not really my fault.
No, people are. I mean, leggings are comfortable. Like I've gained a little weight, so leggings are my jam.
So the LuLaRoe was a pyramid scheme, and I was not involved in selling them, but they're super fucking comfortable. They feel like my legs feel like they're swimming in butter. So
there's someone out there listening to this. Like, how did you go from insurrections to tights? That's fucking incredible transition.
That is a feeling I would like.
All right. It just got kinky. President Trump did not invoke the Insurrection Act, according to Nestler. These defendants needed to take matters into their own hands. They needed to activate the plan that they agreed on. All right, back to the focus on 1-6. In December 2020, Rhodes told others that January 6th presented a hard constitutional deadline, according to prosecutors, and that they would need to, quote, do it ourselves if Trump didn't stop the certification of the election. See, look, regardless of what Trump had planned, they were going to do it regardless. They didn't give a fuck. With time, as their opinions, or rather their options, dwindled, and it became more and more likely the power would be transferred, Nestler said Monday. These defendants became more and more desperate and more focused on that date that Rhodes referred to as a constitutional deadline. According to Nestler, the group organized a caravan of Florida members to drive up to Washington for January 6th. It made preparations for where the organization could store firearms in Virginia, just outside of D.C., because of DC's strict gun laws not allowing those people to.
Oh, they're going to follow that law.
Oh yeah, that's the one. They're like, well, we got to store the guns outside the fucking Capitol at least until the day of, so we don't get busted in advance, right?
We're going to follow the law before we break all the laws.
The people who say gun laws don't work.
Some members of that group, according to prosecutors, brought weapons into DC that day. So apparently not all of them followed the law. Weapons including chemical spray, thick pieces of wood, and they were dressed in paramilitary gear. After describing the stack formation used to enter the Capitol, splitting into two groups, one trying to enter the House chamber and the other staking out Speaker Pelosi's office, Nessler said that Meggs had taken a keen interest in Speaker Pelosi and later told associates that we, quote, looked for her. Initially, the defendant saw the breach as a success, Nessler said, describing them as elated, boastful, and proud. But according to DOJ's account, the defendants quickly realized they were in legal jeopardy, no shit, and instructed one another to flee town and delete messages and keep quiet. Quote, let me put it in infantry speak. Shut the fuck up, Rhodes said in one signal message as presented by prosecutors. Even with their criminal exposure.
That's solid advice.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I would have suggested that they started it like several months earlier.
I mean,
keep shutting up and then just stay at home.
Well, here's the thing, though. Like, if you tell everyone to delete the incriminating messages, maybe you should delete your own incriminating message telling them to delete the incriminating. Even with their criminal exposure, Nessler said, Rhodes continued to plot. On January 10th, days after the insurrection, Rhodes met with someone in Texas to try and get a message to former President Trump. I don't know who that person is. The meeting, which had not been previously reported, was secretly recorded by an attendee.
Do people think when they delete a text from their phone that it can't be subpoenaed?
Yes.
Because
I believe that.
Well, here's the thing. Like, also, if you're going to try to delete the messages, actually delete the messages. Don't have them on. My only regret is that they should have brought rifles. We could have fixed it right then and there, Rhodes said. That's very incriminating shit, right? Like, you're not remorseful at all. You just wish you had brought your guns that day so you could have carried out the plot.
They're sorry they failed.
Yeah, it's not going to look good for them come the jury verdict, right? All right, on to the crying senators. The first prosecution witness, FBI agent Michael Palin, testified that he witnessed senators crying as they hid from rioters who entered the Capitol on January 6th. Palin, who was one of the lead case agents who investigated the Oath Keepers during the course of the almost 2-year investigation. He told the jury that on January 6th, he was sent to the Capitol in the late afternoon and assigned to guard a group of over 80 senators sheltering in the Capitol complex. Okay, so the thing I want to know is, like, if they could send this guy to help guard the senators, like the FBI, why did they send a whole fucking task force in there to clean this shit up instead of having us sitting there watching the fucking attack on the Capitol for hours and hours, wondering if our fucking entire legislative branch was going to die in a fucking coup? Like, one dude ain't enough. Send the goddamn army. Anyway, it was
legislative, man. Like, that's just like nuts. Like, if this was like a Mission Impossible movie, like they would have just put explosives all around the whole thing, and it would have like. But that's, I need to know who senators are.
Okay, anyway. It was chaotic, Palin said of the scene when he arrived. I think shock would be the best word to describe what the senators were feeling. There was some crying. Quote, did you actually witness senators or members of Congress crying? Prosecutor Catherine Rakoczy said. I did, Palin said. Well, look, I've never seen senators, huddle in a group in a mass crying before. But I did recently see that picture posted to the internet where you're like, oh, fuck, they were serious about this shit. Look, I'm pretty sure the senators well aware the circumstances they were facing. They knew the situation was dire and that their lives were being threatened. So when people try and tell me that this wasn't a violent insurrection, I'm like, all right. You go tell that to these fucking senators huddled in the chambers under the protection of a fucking FBI special agent crying their ass off. thinking it was their last day.
Saying their goodbyes.
Yes. The Secret Service was like, oh, this shit is over.
Because they didn't have an option. Like, they couldn't run. Like, they had to stay at their post. So it's like, if you're somebody else and you see like, oh, well, shit, I'm going to go here. I'm going to run. I'm going to hide. I'm going to whatever. The Secret Service couldn't do that.
Right. Well, don't ever let police tell you they don't have they couldn't have found another option other than shooting people because these Secret Service agents did. They managed to hide through an entire violent insurrection and only shot one person. Yeah. So, how do you two think this trial will proceed in the near future? Do you think it's going to look good for the Oath Keepers? How will they get off?
No, I mean, I think that they're probably fucked. They laid out a solid case against them. And I was just trying to think earlier when you were talking about how they were planning on going through with it, regardless of whether Trump intervened.
Yeah. Right.
It just makes me wonder if that'll hurt his case about, his provoking the riot.
Oh.
But then I was wondering about conspiracy charges and when he didn't disavow it or anything. I think they're all going to be tied in together. I would expect them to be tied together in conspiracy charges. So that makes me happy.
I didn't think about that, but I know exactly what you're saying, that might take away, like, see, these crazy loonies were going to do it anyway. So it bolsters his, like, that he,
yeah.
And
I don't remember exactly the rules on charging conspiracy. I mean, I don't practice criminal law. It's been like 12 years since I learned about this in law school, but
the basics.
There's no of conspiracy. Yeah. I mean, if they have to have made
people have to
and taken any steps and not actively disavowed it before the
there basically has to be an agreement, verbal or otherwise, implicit or tacit, and someone has to take a step in furtherance of committing the crime that they all agreed upon. Right. And I think DOJ has so far put together, a pretty compelling case. They've got video with messages and recordings, and they're showing all the fucking maps that they had to plan out the fucking plot and all this other shit that they did while they were in the Capitol and who they were looking for and what they did afterwards. It's a pretty compelling fucking case. I think they're going to nail these fucks. As for tying it to Trump, I know
that's not what you were asking, but
they have
thinking about.
Well, they do have so presenting the defense that, hey, everything we were doing was legal because we thought Trump was going to invoke the Insurrection Act. Well, where did they even get the fucking idea that Trump was going to invoke the Insurrection Act? That had to come from somewhere.
Roger Stone?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, right? No one just randomly pulled that out of their ass. They were obviously in communication with someone who's close to Trump. Roger Stone.
Remember, Stuart Rhodes is a Yale-educated attorney
who also shot himself in the fucking face, which kind of gives argument to. Gives weight to the fact that, hey, not education is not necessarily indicative of intelligence.
And who spent time as a couch-hopping, houseless sexual for a while.
It's my kind of guy.
Did you say houseless? What was the last word?
I said a couch-hopping, houseless sexual. So, yes.
I'm more of a fan of him now than I've ever been upon learning that information. Yeah. Well, I hope everyone out there is staying glued to the news. Keep up with this trial. This is important. This is big. This is one of the biggest cases in United States history. And seditious conspiracy charges are rare, and even rarer to find people guilty. We're going to find people guilty this time.
This is crazy. I don't know. This is still nuts.
Yeah, bonkers. All right, next headline. Trump tried to get the Planet evidence back, because this one's a real doozy. Donald Trump has asked the Supreme Court to intervene in the dispute over materials marked as classified that the FBI seized from his Mar-a-Lago estate this summer. His crappy Motel 6 resort that's colored pink and gold and shit. Trump is specifically asking the court to ensure the more than 100 documents marked as classified are part of the special master's review. The request, if granted, could bolster the former president's attempt to challenge the search in court and have the documents returned to him. For one, Trump regularly gets on TV hinting and suggesting the fact that the evidence might be planted. Well, if it's planted, sir, why the fuck are you trying to get it back?
Why are you giving us back? You can't have our planted evidence back. That's not how it works.
I don't understand.
It's like, well, they planted it, so now it's mine.
On the other hand, if a cop planted drugs on me and they were arresting me, but like, well, can I have the weed?
Yeah, can I at least smoke half a little piece of drug?
Right.
Smoky. I smoke half.
Can I do what you're arresting me for before I go?
Do I still look high? Trump's emergency application to the Supreme Court comes after the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals sided with the department's criminal investigation into the documents marked as classified to continue. The probe's use of the records have been put on hold by a district judge in Florida. Judge Cannon, who fucking sucks. I don't know how she has a fucking job, who granted Trump a request for a third-party review of the materials obtained in the Mar-a-Lago search. Justice Clarence Thomas, bing, keep that name in mind, the recipient of Trump's application because he oversees litigation coming from the circuit court that is handling the special master order appeal, gave the Justice Department a deadline of 5 p.m. Tuesday, October 11 to respond. Will Justice Clarence Thomas put what little shred of integrity he has left on the line to somehow magically get these classified documents back in Trump's hands? Yay or nay?
I'm changing my pants.
Well,
to my PJ bottoms.
This podcast just got even more inappropriate somehow. I didn't think it was possible, but Ty is taking her pants off on the Zoom. We can't actually see it. The camera's aimed up, so all of you people out there clutching your pearls, it's not that bad.
It's not that good, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not that. What I meant to say is it's not even that good. It's disappointing. Yeah, we missed the whole fun part. All right, yeah, back to the question. Oh, I'm sorry.
I just don't think, I don't think he can single-handedly do anything, but maybe the, eighth and a half justice, other Thomas, damn it, what's her name? Judy. I want to say Judy.
Eighth and a half justice.
Judy Thomas? No.
Jenny?
Mrs. Jenny. There you go. Mrs. Karen Thomas.
Does she have any children?
I don't know, but I bet them bastards suck.
Jesus. I know
it's
that
genetic.
He does. He was, breeding in his first marriage, I think. But yeah, but I don't think I've ever heard of a mention, of her children.
Well,
if she does, they probably hate her, or they should.
I'm on it, Dan.
Children.
Yeah, we all had the same idea. Let's break out the Google and
let's break out.
I searched Karen Care. Okay.
You did what?
I just searched Karen Clarence children and I didn't find anything.
I wonder why.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Virginia. They don't have any biological children together, but Jenny has been part of the life of Clarence Thomas's son from a previous marriage.
Because I refuse to believe that she found two men to marry. Clarence is it. I refuse to believe that there was anybody before him. There are not, there can't be.
Look, I don't want to talk about anyone's judgment as it pertains to making relationship decisions, given my past relationship decisions. But this is fucked. Why would you marry this hoe? She crazy. She done lost her mind. She used to be part of a cult. She's trying to overthrow the fucking government. Dude, you embarrassing us black people out here with this shit. All right, on to the next headline. Kelly Sorrell texts the White House landline. A high-ranking member of the far-right Oath Keepers organization, they just keep coming up. Kelly Sorrell, who has been charged in connection with the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol, and by riot, I mean insurrection, criminal plot to overthrow the government at the U.S. Capitol, exchanged messages in November 2020 with former Trump White House aide Andrew Giuliani. If you're not familiar with that, that would be America's mayor. His
dad was in the Borat movie.
Yeah, that guy.
That Andrew Giuliani.
Yeah, famously
as an actor.
Famously son to the guy who shit his own face and tried to jerk off himself to Borat's assistant. I don't know why she was in contact with this moron. She also tried to text a White House number on December 20th, but that text message went to a White House switchboard line, so it could not be delivered. The fucking genius tried to text a landline. If you're wondering why the plot to overthrow the government didn't work, case in point, these people tried to overthrow the government.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Sorrell, who was a lawyer who represented the Oath Keepers, who was present at the parking garage meeting between the Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, also volunteered for Lawyers for Trump, of course, a coalition of lawyers that was put together ahead of the 2020 election, told NBC News that she was in touch with Giuliani, who was a White House public liaison assistant during the Trump administration. I'm assuming public liaison assistant means he was in charge of orchestrating the fucking coup. Sue me if you want to. Discovery will be awesome on that.
No, he was liaising.
He was
in the organization of the coup.
Okay, he wasn't orchestrating, he was liaising. Gotcha. Sorrell said she only recalled being in touch with Andrew Giuliani in November 2020, but said that she could not check because the FBI seized her phone in September 2021. Surprise, surprise. None of the motherfucker got her phone took. She should go to Hardee's. She also confirmed her December attempt to text a White House contact. Sorrell, who was on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol with Rose on January 6th, was recently charged with 4 counts in connection to the Capitol attack. Conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, obstruction of an official proceeding, obstruction of justice, and misdemeanor entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds. Sorrell pled not guilty to all the charges at her arraignment earlier this month. Good luck with that, motherfucker. You about to be buried with your homie, Stuart Rose, who shot himself in the face while you're texting fucking landlines like a criminal fucking mastermind.
Wait, so he was out there with his lawyer insurrectioning, and then he was going to use that same lawyer to represent him in court?
Lawyer/girlfriend who kind of
is that what you're saying?
You gotta love these people who like copy Trump to such a degree that their own lawyers need lawyers, right? Like it's a fucking plague. Yeah. Thank you, Trump, for increasing Biden's jobs numbers by causing all of these lawyers to have to hire more lawyers. Like half the job growth in the United States is just lawyers representing Trump attorneys.
I would say my profession is in his debt, but I know he's in debt to my profession. So.
Well, apparently he's going to be in need of more legal counsel soon, as it appears that a number of his attorneys have lawyered up. We'll get to that eventually, though. Keep that in mind.
So not only does he not pay them, then they have to turn around and pay attorney.
Well, there is this one occasion where he did pay $3 million in advance for.
Well, Kais is no idiot. He made out good, but he also works for a dictator.
Ah, man, it's tough. Tough job representing authoritarians these days. All right, on to the next topic. Roger Stone video. No, not a swinger gangbang video, it's the other video. Roger Stone, a longtime associate and ally of former President Donald Trump. If you may not remember this, but we mentioned Roger Stone earlier. Famous political dirty trickster, criminal / Nixon crony. Previously,
with the Nixon tramp stamp.
Cartoon villain.
It's some sexy shit. I'm sure there's some dude somewhere excited to bust a nut on Nixon's face on Roger Stone's back. I don't know. Look, it's on his back. It's a tramp stamp. Like, I don't know what else they're for. If not target practice, like I don't bang dudes, but I imagine if a dude has it. Anyway, the day before the 2020 election, Roger Stone, the longtime Republican operative, said in front of the documentary film crew that he had no interest in waiting to tally actual votes before contesting the election results. Maybe you shouldn't admit to that right before there's an actual coup. Quote, fuck the voting, let's get right to the violence, Stone can be heard saying. Shoot to kill. See Antifa? Shoot to kill. Fuck them. Done with this bullshit. All of this, according to footage provided by a Danish film crew who followed Stone for portions of multiple years leading up to the election. If you're not familiar with this particular film crew, they did testify during the January 6th committee hearings a month or two ago. Stone now says he was only kidding when he made those remarks. We renounce violence completely, he said. We totally renounce violence. The left is the only ones who engage in violence. Carol, can you just renege on your plot to kill people and try and overthrow the government, which is caught on tape days before you actually attempted to overthrow the government? Like, can you backtrack on that? Is sorry, bro, them was just jokes good enough to get you?
The legal term for this is totally full of shit. I mean, you can say it's a joke all you want, but let me tell you something about humor. It's supposed to be funny.
I see.
This isn't a joke. What is funny about saying to go kill an Antifa? Maybe he said because he said an Antifa. He's like, oh, look, I'm a racist old man. No, that isn't. That's the character. That's his character. This is who he plays.
And Antifa. But like, how is he gonna spot him? Well, I'm kind of fucked because I'm black. So they're like, she's got to be black.
Oh, yeah. Like, we're automatically.
Like, I can't hide for I can't, they're going to assume anyway.
Unless we pull some Michael Jackson type shit, like, we can't blend in. Like, they can just see us coming.
Right, exactly. Way. So we're just.
Maybe you'd be safe in a Candace Owens t-shirt.
Oh, no. Only Kanye West can pull that off.
So I should probably keep a MAGA hat in my car.
I don't think that's enough of a disguise. Like, I know Superman pulled that shit off with some glasses, but like, we're black. We can't just wear a hat and be like, oh, see, look, we tricked them. I mean, they're dumb. They're not that dumb.
And they'll be like, you're one of the good ones.
They'll be like, oh, you're one of those Clarence Thomas black people. Gotcha. No, that's not how that works. Hey, the way I see it is if you look and dress like a fucking DC Comics Batman villain, you can't also joke about overthrowing the government. Yeah.
I don't know. They make shit work. They do their best, man. They're doing their best. They're like ironing.
Are you changing your pants again? Anyway, Stone.
I'm putting a faja on. It's a waist trainer.
I don't think that's how. Anyway, Stone was previously sentenced to a maximum of 40 months behind bars back in 2020 for multiple felonies, including witness tampering, lying to Congress, and obstruction. But later received a pardon from Trump before he left office. Man, it's really great when you get your fucking get out of jail free card and you attempt to go right back to jail by trying to overthrow the government. Genius fucking people. All right, next topic. Jeannie Thomas. She finally testifies. Jeannie Thomas, the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. Bing. Remember when I told you that would come back up? Here we are. She reiterated her belief that there was election fraud in the 2020 presidential election during her testimony in front of the House Select Committee investigating the Capitol insurrection on January 6th. We're going to go that she reiterated the fact that she believed that, but she didn't provide any actual evidence to support that fact. Yeah, she's a fucking crazy person. All right. Reports also say that Thomas insisted she generally does not discuss her political activism with her husband, nor does he discuss his work on the Supreme Court with her. Generally doing a lot of heavy fucking lifting there. She confirmed that she texted White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows days after the November election, urging former President Trump to fight the election results. Texts that were released by the committee on November 10th, 2021. She said that her husband was not aware of the text until they were published in the press. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that's a fucking lie. I'm sure he was well aware of whatever the fuck she was doing. Like, how can you not know your wife's plotting to overthrow the government? Right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I call bullshit on that. Like, spouses talk to each other about their jobs unless they hate each other.
No, even spouses who hate each other talk to each other about attempting to overthrow the goddamn government. Sorry, Carol. I wasn't.
Yeah, but just their jobs, man. Yeah, people talk about that. That's how people spend a lot of their time.
Yeah.
How are you gonna not talk to your spouse about your day?
Yeah. What'd you do today, honey? Well, I went to the Supreme Court and ruined voting rights for black people. How about you? Well, I was plotting with Trump's chief of staff to try and overthrow the government because he lost the 2020 election. Fun times. Giggles, laughs, LOL, smiley face. Get the fuck out of here. We're supposed
to believe they're just sitting there like putting their hands in little steeples, like excellent, like Mr. Burns, and they don't say any. Wait,
right? Like they just sit around watching It's Always Sunny or something.
Yeah, they're just sitting there.
No. Thomas also addressed her volunteer campaign activities, pursuing evidence of election fraud. The committee obtained Thomas's emails to state lawmakers in Arizona and Wisconsin after the 2020 election, urging them to fight back against fraud and exercise their authority to choose a clean slate of presidential electors. Man, if you can't get it done with the chief of staff, like you can always go to the state electors of multiple states to try and get this motherfucker back in power. Seems like a criminal conspiracy to me. Thomas did not have a formal role with the Trump campaign on legal challenges challenges to the election results, but she was reportedly in contact with John Eastman, Trump's lawyer, who also had his phone seized by the FBI. Bing! Keep that in mind, because multiple motherfuckers keep having their phone seized. Her support, notably, or at least of most notably, the Pillow Man. Pillow.
You know,
Pillow
I
Man.
noticed it seems like a coincidence in timing, but they sure seized those phones right before the new iPhone came out. Conspiracy between Apple and the FBI.
Oh man!
Next week to not find out.
Maybe they learned their lesson about seizing phones before people tried to upgrade to the newest version from the fucking Secret Service.